Hello colleagues and welcome to this short video on T-levels. My name is Paul White and I'm the Head of Provider Development at NCFE. Over the next few minutes I want to briefly explain the development of T-levels and how they are funded, set out what a T-level looks like and how it's assessed, and finally say a few words about the T-level transition programme. The Provider Development team at NCFE, working with your account executive and the relevant sector managers, will be here to support you with the delivery of your T-level programmes. To achieve this, we carry out a range of activities. Prior to you being approved by NCFE, we will be running curriculum planning sessions and online workshops, the details of which will be available on our website. On approval, we will support teaching staff through the onboarding process with a range of webinars, information, advice, and guidance at salient points of the journey. In addition to the onboarding process, the team will also support centres with an ongoing programme of online CPD, looking at topical and relevant areas of interest. Indicatively, this may include initial assessment and induction, linear programme delivery, formative assessment strategies, developing English and maths, and difficult to teach areas. In normal times, we will be supporting you through a series of face-to-face CPD and training events. Obviously, these can't go ahead in the current climate, but we will publish details of any future face-to-face events on our website. One particular area of support that Wave 1 centres have found extremely valuable have been one-to-one consultations with the provider development team. These consultations, held at regular intervals, are an opportunity to discuss the challenges and issues centres are facing with the delivery of T-levels and work collaboratively to identify effective approaches and solutions. So, the story of T-levels starts in 2016. The independent panel on technical education, also known as the Sainsbury Review, was tasked with advising ministers on actions to improve the quality of technical education in England. The panel recommended the development of 15 technical routes that will lead to skilled employment, which could cover both employment and classroom-based learning. The new flagship technical education programmes, now known as T-levels, should be delivered through an exclusive licence arrangement. The government accepted the recommendations of the panel and published the Post-16 Skills Plan in 2016, which committed to deliver the first T-levels to be available for first teaching in September 2020. In 2017, Parliament passed the Technical and Further Education Act 2017, creating the Institute for Apprenticeships and Technical Education, now referred to as IFATE. In the same year, the DFE launched the T-level consultation and the T-level action plan. In 2018, the government response to the consultation set out their policy on the design of T-level content, assessment and grading, and Ofqual consulted and signed off on the TQ regulations. In 2019, Pearson and NCFE were awarded the first contracts for TQs in digital, construction, education and childcare. In 2020, the first 3 pathways rolled out, Pearson delivering digital and construction, and NCFE education and childcare. 2021, there are 7 more pathways to be rolled out under the digital, construction and health and science routes. Another 3 pathways will commence in 2022, and by 2023, all T-level pathways are due to be rolled out. An interesting and important note on the development of T-levels is their intimate alignment with apprenticeship standards. The standards that have been developed by the Trailblazer groups and form the basis of the apprenticeship assessment plans have also been used by the T-level panels to develop the T-level outline content. The outline content has then informed the TQ qualification specifications, which, taken with the other requirements, including work placement and English and maths, form the overall T-level programme. Another area of policy that has been developing alongside T-levels is how they are funded, and in broader terms, how the Level 3 space is funded in the future. The key headline is that the ESFA are building on the existing arrangements in order to distribute T-level funding for 16 to 19-year-olds rather than design a new separate system. This means adjusting the current funding system so that it funds T-levels as well as existing 16 to 19 study programs. There are a number of differences and additional elements that T-level students will attract. They have introduced 4 new funding bands from 6 to 9 because T-levels will be larger than standard study programs and will be of different sizes. Funding is based on the number of program hours over 2 years. Industry placements are funded at a flat rate of £550, with half paid in the first year and half in the second. A single payment of £750 per subject per student will be paid in the first year for students without level 2 in maths and/or English, who will need to continue studying these subjects as part of their T-level in order to achieve the exit requirement. The wider funding landscape at level 3 is currently subject to government consultation, which recently closed on the 15th of January 2021. The key takeaway from this consultation is that the government is looking to reduce the number of existing level 3 qualifications it will fund. Funding will focus on A-levels for academic study and T-levels and apprenticeships for technical education. And it is proposed that there will be a narrow group of exceptions to these 3 qualifications. It is essential then that leadership teams should reflect on their current level 3 offer and plan accordingly for the future with a focus on these 3 clearly fundable areas. Now let's cover the T-level qualification and look at the architecture of T-levels in general and what common themes define them. Generally, the overarching T-level programme consists of 5 key elements. Firstly, the core. The core content relates to the whole route and the pathway that the technical qualification covers. This breadth of content will help to ensure students are able to apply their skills in a variety of contexts and for a variety of different purposes. The content will vary depending on the requirements of the route and the pathway, or the occupations covered by the scope of the qualification. The core knowledge and understanding focuses on the student's knowledge and understanding of context, concepts, theories and principles relevant to the T-level. The core can make up between 20 to 50% of the TQ in terms of delivery time. The second component of the TQ are the occupational specialisms. The occupational specialisms correspond to the apprenticeship standards listed on the occupational map covered by the T-level. Occupational specialisms ensure students develop the knowledge and skills necessary to achieve a level of competence needed to enter employment in the occupational specialism. Achievement of this minimum level of competence signals that a student is well placed to develop full occupational competence with further support and development once in work. The occupational specialisms can make up between 50 to 80% of the TQ in terms of delivery time. In addition to the TQ, students will also need to complete an industry placement. The T-level industry placement must take place with an employer external to the provider. That is to say, outside of the college or institution that are delivering the T-level qualification. The purpose of the T-level industry placement is to develop the student's skills in the work environment and give them the opportunity to apply those skills. The industry placement is set at a minimum requirement of 315 hours. There's also an exit requirement of English and Maths for the T-level programme, and this requirement is set at level 2. There is an exception to this for SEND learners, which is set at entry level 3. The English and Maths requirement can be met with either GCSE grade 4 or functional skills at level 2. Finally, the T-level programme may consist of other requirements depending on the particulars of the T-level pathways. So this could include something like health and safety certificate or some form of license to practice or a professional registration that's required for skilled employment in a particular sector. Having looked at the 5 elements that make up the T-level programme, let's look specifically at the TQ approach to assessment and grading. The core is assessed by 2 external assessments that are set by NCFE. They are externally set and marked. The first part of the assessment is an external assessment. This may take the form of an exam, for example. The second part of the assessment for the core is the Employer Set Project, or the ESP. The Employer Set Project is delivered by NCFE in collaboration with sector employers to make sure that this is an occupationally relevant and realistic set of tasks that will help prepare the student for employment in the sector. One thing that's worth noting about the Employer Set Project is that it is externally set and marked by NCFE and set in collaboration with employers. So those 2 assessments have a compensatory grading structure, and the final grade for the core will be set at A* to E. The occupational specialisms are synoptically assessed through assignments, which are also set by NCFE, and these will be graded at pass, merit, and distinction. The combination of the core grade and the occupational specialisms then gives rise to the overall TQ grade, which will be from a pass through to a distinction star. In addition to the T-level, you may also want to consider the T-level transition programme. Because the T-level qualifications are 2-year qualifications, equivalent to 3 A-levels, it is maybe the case that some students aren't quite ready to take that extra step to a T-level programme. However, they may reasonably be able to begin the T-level within 12 months after a year's transition. The T-level transition programme is a tailored study programme which is focused on preparing for a particular T-level pathway. And to achieve that, the T-level transition programme needs to have 5 key components, which you can see highlighted in colour. These components are nationally set, but there is flexibility at centre level about how to design and package this programme to meet the needs of students and best prepare them for the particular pathway in question. So let's look at the 5 mandatory components of the transition programme. Firstly, the diagnostic period. This is where the individual needs of the students are assessed so that they can decide which T-level route or pathway they need to prepare for and in what particular areas they require support. There's an English and Maths requirement for the T-level transition for those who are not yet at the point where they have achieved GCSE grade 4 in Maths or English or level 2 functional skills, and to make sure they are on track for meeting that key exit requirement. There's work experience and work-related learning to help get students ready for the industry placement. There's also introductory technical skills, and this is where the student on the transition programme can begin to get an introduction to the technical pathway of their choice. Finally, there's a pastoral support and personal development component. This is intended to provide wider support and develop study skills. It also addresses any other barriers that might be particular to the student so that they are in a good position to begin the T-level programme. You may have noticed that this transition programme can be thought of as something of a mini T-level. The T-level qualification should provide excellent progression opportunities for learners, with options ranging from higher level apprenticeships to skilled employment. And because the T-level qualification attracts UCAS points, it also provides pathways into higher education. In particular, we can see that a T-level distinction star grade is equivalent to 3 A levels at A star, attracting 168 UCAS points, reflecting the size and rigour of the T-level qualification. So far in this video, I have outlined the features that are generally applicable to all T-levels. NCFE are already supporting providers with the delivery of the education and childcare route, which commenced in September 2020. Delivery of the health and science route will commence in 2021, and this route is being delivered exclusively by NCFE. The digital route has 3 pathways, the first of which is digital production, design and development. This pathway has been delivered by Pearson, and centres went live with this in September 2020. The other 2 pathways, digital support services and digital business services, are licensed to NCFE and will commence delivery in September 2021. So I'm now going to hand over to the sector managers to look in more detail at the individual routes and pathways. Thank you.
Spot on, I think, Paul, that was great.
Okay.
I'm just going to stop